What up? I'm actually going on a road trip alone. Yes, I am actually driving out of town by myself. Yes, I told you guys I wanted to explore California, so that is exactly what I have been doing. Exploring California. I've seen so many amazing things in California. Taking me a little day out of town was a good idea. I actually needed it, like, severely, because I'm a single mom. I don't get a lot of time to myself. It's not like I know a lot of people personally in the California area, in the Bay Area. So, I don't have any friends or anything. So I'm just doing a lot of driving around and meeting people. I actually met these two girls at the beauty supply store just recently. I was trying to go to their like little support group that they have for single moms. She was like telling me that she goes to this support group, and I might start doing that. I don't know. But because I don't have any girlfriends or anybody really here like that, I have a handful of friends that's new to me. Nobody that I really would be like, yo, I want to hang out with this person every weekend type of shit. I don't have that. I don't have that. I got people I know, but I don't have any real friends. Now, they're good people, don't get it twisted, but I don't have any, like real friends like that. And so, anyway, I wanted to talk about becoming the non traditional woman. And the reason why I wanted to speak about this is because on my community tab, I use my community tab like crazy. On my community tab, I posted like this post that this man had posted on Facebook, and inside of it he was talking about how non-traditional women still want men to be traditional inside of marriages. Now, my thing is the reason why marriage can be one of those things that can end easily in a non-traditional environment, because nowadays tradition is old and drawn out, and no one's really following traditions anymore, especially in regards to marriage. I mean, same-sex marriage isn't even classified as traditional. So we're in a new day and age, and now people aren't really doing traditional shit. Back in the day, back in the 50s and 60s, women relied heavily on marriage because men were providers at the time, and women, we didn't have a lot of rights to do, like we do now. We didn't get jobs that we get now. We didn't make the amount of money that we do now. We couldn't even vote at some time. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the traditional characteristics that a woman would have inside of a marriage, she no longer has, because she no longer has to rely on a man to provide and help her be, to help her survive. So the way that women used to behave inside of traditional marriages, they no longer act this way. But at the same time, women have to also understand that men no longer act traditional either. Men have also evolved to basically accepting the fact that now women have more power than they used to. Now women can provide the same way a man could. It's guys out here being single fathers now, and staying at home, being in the house taking care of the kids, while the woman go out there and get the work. It's an equality thing that women begged for. Now, personally, regardless to how much money I make or my husband makes, biologically we will never be equal. And a lot of women try for equal rights and all of this mumbo jumbo, failing to realize that forever we are just biologically different. Men are just stronger physically. Women aren't as strong physically, not naturally at least. It's some women out there that are extremely strong, but for the most part, women aren't really designed that way. But what I've noticed about marriages is a lot of women, right, and men do this too, they're guilty of it too, but a lot of women will get into a marriage and still want to do whatever it is that they want to do, right, but don't want their husband to do that same thing. You have to understand, if you're going to be married to someone, you have to abide by a certain set of rules, and a lot of people don't want to accept the fact that they don't have that same kind of freedom married. People want to be inside of these open marriages and these open relationships, and that's fine, to each his own, but you have to understand the consequences that come with that shit. Now, I do want to say, as of lately, to me, men don't really benefit from marriage. You understand? Like, if you notice, traditionally, men have never really benefited from marriage. It has always been like a thing that makes women more valuable according to society. It hasn't really been something that has been beneficial to men, because let them for 2 seconds decide they want to get a divorce. Suddenly they're broke as hell because their wife is getting alimony. And I want to say this before I move forward. When people get on black women about child support, you have to understand that white women have alimony. It's the same thing. You still getting money regardless to whether you're married or you're not once you sign legal documents. You understand what I'm saying? So you can be equally affected when you have children by women who actually put you on child support. It's just as bad as if you broke up with a white woman and she wants spousal support or alimony. Okay, it's the same thing. So don't let people chastise you if you're black and you're on child support. It's the same thing with white women and alimony, okay? So anyway, I'm just loving this drive I'm having too. Like, this is amazing. So anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, so the traditional marriages and stuff are not the same. You know, you can't really do what you want to do inside of traditional marriage. Now, like I said, the world isn't traditional anymore. We're in a new day and age. So I think people should redefine what marriage is actually. You know me, if you've been watching me for a long time, I stopped believing in marriage wholeheartedly about 10 years ago. I felt like marriage was not beneficial to the man I was with, and I've always felt like spiritual marriage is way more beneficial. I feel like with spiritual marriage, it has more to do with the universe and God, and to me, God is a lot more powerful than the legal system inside of the United States. So why would I want to sign a legal document, sign a contract? To me, a legal marriage is a business. We're saying, hey, we're going to sit here and we're going to exchange money, and our taxes are going to change and shit like that. So it's always been a legal contract, a business arrangement to me. Marriage has. So I've always said, well, if I decide to get married, you know, it'll be a spiritual marriage. It won't be a legal one. For the past, I was so pressed to be married. I thought that being married would bring me some type of value. I have been engaged 3 times. I mean, I tried so hard to be a wife. All I wanted to do was be a wife and a mother because, you know, from the way I was raised, outside of my aunts telling me that men ain't shit, for the most part, I was kind of in the church most of the time, and they would just teach me that being married, you know, was something that I was supposed to do. But it's church, so they're basically saying in God's eyes you're supposed to be married. So still, that brings me back to this whole spiritual marriage thing. Why would I want to be legally married to somebody if it has nothing to do with God? Being legally married to someone has nothing to do with God. So I still stick to this whole spiritual marriage thing, because I mean, it's a lot of people out there who are legally married to each other who can't stand each other. It's people that's legally married to each other who don't want to be together no more. I always wanted somebody to be with me because they wanted to be there, not because they signed a document and they're there out of obligation. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm so sorry if like I'm like going in and out, maybe because of the internet or some shit like that. I apologize if I'm like buffering or something like that, because I am driving, you know. I'm so far. I think I'm like 2 hours away from San Francisco. Yeah, I think I'm far out. So, but what I want women to understand is when you do decide that you want to be married, you and your husband or your fiance have to literally sit down and redefine exactly what marriage is. And honestly, I think you should throw out the traditional rules in regards to marriage, because we're living in a whole different type of situation. I mean, the internet in itself can complicate a marriage or a relationship, because you have access to way too many people, way too many things, especially men. Like, you can't leave men up to their own devices. Some men, you can't dump them in a place where there's a whole bunch of free scattered ass everywhere, because they're going to take advantage of the opportunity that the scattered ass is even there. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the time, men who aren't cheating on their wives is because they don't have the opportunity, the space and opportunity to do so. But men, not ladies, but fellas, when you get inside of these situations where you're considering marrying some woman, you need to make sure that you and her are on the same level in regards to how you two define it. Because the traditional definition of marriage is done. That shit is over. And I think that's why the divorce rate keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher with time. Because I'm telling you, let me just say this. For as long as I've been living, I'm 38. Majority of the time, all I've seen people do is actually complain about their marriage. Like, I've seen people being in good places and bad places. Like, my aunt and Uncle Cliff have been married for 30 plus years. They've rarely had any problems inside of their marriage. And if they have, they've been really, really good at hiding that shit. So one day I was sitting down with the two of them, and we were talking about how could Jay-Z possibly cheat on Beyonce, one of the most beautiful women in the world, one of the most hard-working women in the world. I mean, he has got to have the best woman ever statistically. You know, society has basically put a crown on this woman as like close to perfection as you gonna get, and then you turn around and you cheat on this woman, right? So I asked my uncle, who has been married for 30 plus years, right? I said to my uncle, what in the world is a man to cheat on a woman like Beyonce? That doesn't make any sense. What woman in this world is better than Beyonce? And he looked at me like I had doo-doo on my clothes. He was like, are you kidding me? He said, does a man have a penis? I said, yes. He said, well, it has nothing to do with the woman. Okay? A man is going to cheat because of his own insecurities, sometimes it ain't even about insecurity. It can be about greed. It can be about whatever. Okay, and I think the reasons why women cheat in a marriage are very different from why a man cheats. But a man cheating on a woman inside of this society is so normal. They have put like some type of normalcy on top of husbands cheating on wives in America that no one is surprised when they hear this happens. Okay, but let a woman make this decision to cheat on her husband. Okay, let her make this decision. All hell would break loose. Let's say Beyonce decides to cheat on Jay-Z right now because he cheated on her. All right, and he cheated on her more than once. Okay, let Beyonce make a decision and say, you know what, fuck that. I'm going to fuck with Floyd Mayweather. People would look at her like she was crazy. People would completely disown Beyonce. Okay? But Jay-Z could somehow, now people drug him, but they wouldn't drag him to filth like they would do Beyonce. If Beyonce did it, it's the same thing with let's use the example. Fucking Tiny and T.I. T.I. cheated on Tiny. Okay? He cheated on Tiny more than once. Okay? Finally, Tiny says, fuck this. Okay? I'm going to Floyd Mayweather's party, and all I'm going to do is the cabbage patch with this nigga. That's all I got to do is just cabbage patch with this nigga. Okay? And everybody going to start dragging me to filth for cheating on T.I. Listen, Tiny didn't even have to sleep with Floyd Mayweather in order to get T.I. mad. After T.I. done win, he done fucked whoever. So society looks at women different in regards to marriage. Men do not need marriage. Women do. You understand? Hold on, my phone ring. Women need marriage because according to society, all right, it brings more value to women to be a wife. For a woman to have freedom, any type of freedom, whether it's sexual freedom, whether it's economic freedom, whether it's whatever type of freedom a woman could have, it brings less value to her. Like, men want virgins and this crazy, weird, high expectations that they put on top of women that are so unrealistic. Let you be a real woman for 2 minutes and you're devalued. Let you say, hey, I've been with one guy. You're devalued. They do women in business like this as well. Say, for instance, a woman is financially stable and she's the boss lady. Have you noticed a lot of times when women who are entrepreneurs are boss ladies or have a whole bunch of money, they tend to be single? Have you noticed that? They don't have husbands because for some reason, men feel some sort of intimidation in regards to women who have financial stability. But at the same time, just how I said earlier, the traditional gender roles are no longer present inside of our society. So we need to start redefining what marriage is. It's time to have a new definition of what marriage is. It should be okay for a woman to be financially stable in a marriage. It should be okay for women to have their freedom. Like, for instance, men can go around and sleep with whoever. Like I said the other day, I put on my community tab, that if a woman sleeps with one man, everyone's like, oh, like it's like this big issue. But a man could spread his semen to the four winds and pass out heartbreak and disease, and everybody think that that's just completely fine. That's just normal. It's like the woman will continuously be blamed regardless of the situation. I'm pretty sure it's people out there like, there has to be something wrong with Beyonce for Jay-Z to have cheated on her. What did Beyonce do to make this man want to step outside of his marriage? Best believe it's people actually thinking that shit. People actually thought that shit. Like, it has to be something wrong with Beyonce for him to have had to cheat on her. Because women always have to take responsibility for the whims and the actions of men. It's like men want to be leaders. They want to be almighty, all powerful. But then suddenly when they get inside of a relationship, it's like they turn into our puppet. According to society, once a man is involved with a woman, he no longer has control over his physical body. So every single thing that he does, every single decision, every single action, she's the reason why. So if he cheats, it's her fault. Okay? Everything that she does. Now, I was watching Corinne Steffens one time. Corinne Steffens, right? I know y'all know who Corinne Steffens is. You should. It's Superhead. Superhead was on DJ Vlad TV on YouTube. She was on there, and those of you that don't know, Superhead has been married. She was married before, and then she got into the industry when her husband left her. He used to beat her and cheat on her and all types of shit. And then they got divorced, and that's how she ended up becoming a single mother. And then she started doing a whole bunch of videos and shit like that. And then that's how she became Superhead. Okay, and then she turned around and was supposedly married to Columbus Short. And then he beat her and blah, 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 blah. So listen, Corinne Steffens was on DJ Vlad TV, right? And she was talking about how men put women on a pedestal basically before they have sex with them. But once they have sex with men, they're classified as dirty. So why would any woman want to devalue themselves by sleeping with a man? So she was basically saying, I'm a good woman until I fuck with you. And then after I fuck with you, that means I ain't shit. So why would I want to be with you, basically, is what she was saying. And I was like, damn, that's an interesting way to think of it. And it goes back to what I was saying. It's almost like men get credit for the shit that they do, good or bad, unless it has something to do with a woman. It means every time a man gets around a woman, he should be classified as an idiot who doesn't know how to control his penis. Suddenly, when the presence of vagina comes around, a man is completely stupid. That's how society wants us to believe men to be. If I was a man, I would be fucking offended by that. If I was a man, I'd be like, how come society doesn't hold me accountable when I make mistakes with my penis? Society wants me to believe that biologically, if I cheat on my wife or if I'm promiscuous, that's just normal because I automatically get turned into a retard when I get a hard on. As if I was a man, I would be completely offended by that. But men seem to use this as like a crutch, and it's like okay to them that society considers them complete idiots anytime they whip their dick out. And they're simply okay with this shit. And I don't understand why men are so comfortable with the traditional definition of what a husband is or a man is when we have evolved as people. We have evolved in so many different ways. So the definition of a man should no longer be, okay, I'm smart, I'm a good dude, I'm a good man until I whip out my penis and I turn into motherfucking Forrest Gump after that. I'm just completely a fucking idiot after that. That's an old definition of a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could see men being like that back in the day. But haven't y'all learned y'all lesson by now? Like, you mean to tell me out of all of these experiences we done seen men go through where their penis done got them fucked up?
In half a mile, keep left at the fork to stay on I-80 East.
All right. After men have seen a whole bunch of other men go through so many horrible situations because of them listening to their penis, you mean to tell me men still haven't learned their lesson at all? Not even a little bit? Like, that means men haven't
keep left at the fork to stay on I-80 East.
Hold on, that's my GPS telling me where I'm going because I don't know where I'm just driving in this bitch. Those of you who don't know, I'm on my little personal road trip alone. I'm just driving. You know, I'm just going. You know what I'm saying? I had to leave baby Jay in the back with my mother, and I just took off. And I'm like, I'm going to take me a little solo road trip for the day and do whatever I want to do, and then turn around and come back. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm having a good time. So anyway, back to what I was saying. And as women get offended now, we get offended because the old traditional definition of what a woman used to be is no longer there. Okay, we're not like that anymore. So when people try to make it seem like we're less than or we're not smart enough to do these jobs that men used to only do, like for instance, men try to make me feel like I'm not smart enough to be in IT. I remember when I first did my computer tutorials on YouTube, I was so fucking scared to do a damn tutorial. I didn't want to make a damn mistake. I said, let me sit up here and get some notes or some shit, or let me Google some shit and have it right by my side so I can be able to say whatever I need to say. I don't want to make mistakes. I don't want to teach anybody anything bad. In my comment section, men was dragging me. You ain't in IT. You ain't smart enough to be in IT. You ain't smart enough to be a software engineer. And these were the very things that I was worried about experiencing, because I remember when I first decided I wanted to go to college for computers. I went right after I got out of high school. I decided, you know what, I'm start taking some courses so I can get an IT, which is supposedly a male-oriented industry, right? So I get in class. I'm the only girl in my entire class, and these men picked on me. These boys, they wasn't men yet, because we was like in our early 20s, basically. They picked on my ass for an entire month before I finally just decided to quit. I was like, you know what, I can't take it anymore, because every day, if I got to go to class every day and get humiliated by all of these boys, and I'm the only girl in here, I can't take it. I can't take it, you know? And this was in what, 2000, 2001, 2002. Now it's 2018, okay? Women are executives, women are presidents of companies, women are billionaires, women are going out here and they're doing the damn thing. Okay, so now the roles of men and women need to be redefined, because the traditional versions are no longer there. That day and age has died out. But it doesn't mean simply because now women can take care of themselves and we now can vote and tie our own shoes and shit, that we shouldn't be classified as a woman to be in a relationship with or to marry simply because we might have an opinion or we might be strong-willed. You know, if it seems like in order to be married to a man nowadays, or even back then, you had to dumb yourself down. You had to literally be like, you know what? You are the king. You are the smart one. All I'm supposed to do is sit here, cook, clean, and take care of kids. That's all I'm supposed to know how to do. And this is what has been the traditional role of a wife. Now, in the 80s, when we were growing up, like I am 38. So as I was growing up, the one show I used to love that I still love is the damn Cosby Show. And the reason why I like the Cosby Show is because, number one, Cliff and Claire both worked. They both brought something to the household. And to me, it was never any type of disdain for the fact that Claire was a damn attorney. No one made her feel any type of way because she was bringing in her income and doing the damn thing. If you notice, anytime you watch the Cosby Show, the only person you seen paying bills in that motherfucker was Claire. And think about it. Every time you rarely saw Cliff sitting down at that desk by the door, writing the checks and paying the bills. It was always Claire. It was Claire's responsibility to pay the bills, regardless to who had more money, who was more successful. It was always Claire who paid the bills. But no one made Claire feel some type of way about that. I feel like the relationships and the marriages and the friendships and the way that we did things in like the 80s and the 90s was the best version to me of how to handle life. When I think about the 80s and the 90s, I think that was like the best era, you know? Because when I look at how women used to dress, like think about this, when you would look at music videos, like say for instance, let me give you an example of a music video that everybody used to watch in the 90s. Rump Shaker. Y'all remember Rump Shaker? Y'all remember that song Rump Shaker? Who used to sing? I think it was Teddy Riley. Okay? He was like in this group. All I want to do is I'm a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Just shake your up. All I want to do is I'm a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Just shake your. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you was an 80s baby, you know what Rump Shaker is. All right? Now, remember Rump Shaker. Every single woman inside of that video was naturally beautiful. Okay, most of them had their real hair. Most of them had real titties, real ass. You know, they was like naturally beautiful and wholesome, and everybody was having a good time. They wasn't necessarily disrespecting the girls because the girls were shaking their rumps. They was just shaking their rumps and having a good time. Didn't mean they was hoes. Didn't mean they was bitches. Just meant that they was shaking their damn rump. You understand what I'm saying? Back then, music was even better. The way people represented themselves was even better. Yesterday, my daughter was on Instagram, right? She sent me a video. UNITY. Remember that? UNITY is the unity. Queen Latifah. My 18-year-old daughter was sending me a clip of Who You Calling a Bitch by Queen Latifah. Back then, it was don't call women bitches. You call me a bitch, that's disrespectful. I'm going to need for you to not do that shit, right? Nowadays, it's I'm a bad bitch. I'm the baddest bitch. I'm the bitch. And niggas is going around calling women bitches. So to me, as shit has evolved with time from traditional roles and traditional ways that we do things, and now we're in a new age, in a new era, I just feel like we should all redefine, especially inside of the Black community, because the Black community is completely lost in regards to tradition. Like, think about what is really a Black tradition. You're African American. If you're in a live chat, I want you to name an African American tradition, and don't you dare put the electric slide. All right, don't you dare put it. Okay, I don't want to see that. Name a tradition, an African American tradition that we basically created ourselves, because most of the stuff that we have basically done, you know, most of the stuff that is in regards to family and marriage and friendship and stuff like that, we've gotten it from another culture. Maybe we've gotten it from these Caucasians. And the one thing about white people, now they get divorced too, don't get it twisted. They get divorced and remarried 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 times and shit. You know, there's people out there that get married one time and they stay together for like 100 years. Then you got people who get married and they get married over and over and over and over again. Okay, but with white people, they actually value marriage because they realize that marriage is a contract. It's an agreement. It's a legal agreement. It's we're going to marry for money and business. That's what white people do. And for some reason, black people and some other cultures think marriage is about love. Nah, that marriage is about money and business, legal marriage. You know? So I feel like the black community is lost inside of this department. And we should, in the world, not just black people, but the world should redefine traditional marriage or just the roles of men and women, because the roles have either switched or evolved. They just basically evolved, you know. And I know for me, I'm never getting married. You guys know I'm never being in a relationship again after I've dealt with my son's father, and to see how my son's father even dealt with his own marriage. It's like a lot of people just don't even respect their own marriage. But then, like, even with that situation, my son's father did not respect his own marriage, right? But everybody expected me to respect his marriage. How can I respect his marriage when he don't even respect his own damn marriage? You see what I'm saying? Like, as a woman, that was still my responsibility to give a fuck about his marriage when he didn't give a fuck about it. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't give a fuck about it. So I'm supposed to teach these two people who've been married for 15 years how to traditionally respect their own marriage, but neither one of them do. And I'm the single one in this motherfucker. That didn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. So I just feel like everybody is so lost in regards to relationships and marriage and shit like that. And I think with each individual person, I guess you kind of got to make your own definition and your own traditions in regards to that. I feel like I have been driving. Oh my God, I've been driving for such a long time. I'm so tired. I might pull over and like find me a damn Chick-fil-A or something, because I don't know, but the traffic is starting to get bad. It's 2:50 here. I don't know what time it is where y'all at. Some of y'all might be on the East Coast, but I am on the West Coast and I'm heading north. I just left San Francisco maybe 2 hours ago. So it is 2:50 here. And traffic is like already and I'm not even in San Francisco. I had to leave San Francisco earlier because traffic gets really, really bad at 2 o'clock in San Francisco. And I don't even know where I am at right now. And it's traffic and it's almost 3. And I'm like, oh my God, like I got a long ways to go. Can you like, Jesus Christ. So anyway, if you go into my community tab, you'll see the post where the guy is like talking to non-traditional women, and then you get to put, you know, what you think about non-traditional women. I personally feel like I'm non-traditional. It's a lot of women out there that's deciding to be non-traditional. They're deciding to be single mothers on purpose because they don't want to deal with the bullshit of being inside of a relationship. Because I'm telling you, babies are easier to deal with than some motherfucking adults. Straight up. Like some adults, I just be like, You know what I mean? I seen a post on Facebook yesterday that there was such thing as a egg donor place there where he could go and actually give his sperm so he could get a son. Now, I seen women donate their eggs, right, so other couples could have babies or a single woman could have a baby. That was the first time I seen a man say, listen, I want a son, but I don't want a wife or a girlfriend. Where do I go? You know what I mean? That's some non-traditional shit. And there's people out here that's doing that. People are starting, like single families are starting to be more acceptable. You know, at first it was so taboo. Like for instance, these polygamous relationships. These relationships are starting to be normal. Just like same-sex marriage was so taboo. Now everybody gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why being gay is like this odd thing, because they're just now starting to pick up on the fact that it even happened. You know, if people want to be gay, straight, bi, married, not married, I just don't understand why that makes so many other people feel uncomfortable. Like, if a woman decides to be a single mother, whether she did it on purpose or by accident, why is that such a big deal? If a man decides that he wants to be homosexual and he wants to adopt 2 children and legally he can do that, what's the big deal? Why do other people get so upset when they see other people doing things? It's not inside of your household. You still have control over what's happening in your own life and your children's life. So why does it bother other people for other people to be non-traditional? Like, why does it bother traditional people to see other non-traditional people? And honestly, a non-traditional person could give two fucks what a traditional person is doing. Like, that's the amazing part about being non-traditional. Most non-traditional people are open-minded. So they can look at someone who's being super religious or super, traditional and super whatever, right? And not even judge these people and just go off and do their own life. But traditional people, they are so upset when they look out into the world and see everybody doing their own thing. Like, no one wants anybody to do their own thing. Everyone wants everyone to abide by this same set of rules. Like, it's people out there that's actually pissed that marijuana and weed is legal. But they overlook the fact that cigarettes kill you more, and that shit's legal. I done seen alcohol kill not only the person that's driving the car, but other people. All I seen weed do is be friendly. Like, seriously, I've never heard anybody say, hey, Davion done overdosed on weed, or Davion was high and he got into a weed car accident. I rarely hear about that. I'm sure it's happened before, but it is not as significant as people driving drunk and crashing. Or, people dying from like liver cancer or some shit from drinking. Or smoking. People whole throat got a hole in it and they talking out their throat right here because they've been smoking. I mean, but people are pissed about weed being legal simply because it's a non-traditional thing. Smoking has been something that people have been doing for such a long time. It's been acceptable. The same thing with drinking. It's been acceptable for so long. People don't like change. That's what it is. People don't like being uncomfortable. I never understood that. I never understood that, because in order for you to make change and to be better and to do better, you have to feel uncomfortable. Like, do you know how uncomfortable it is right now for me to be driving somewhere alone, far from home, by myself? Like, I've done that. I did that one time. I actually drove through from Georgia, from Atlanta, Georgia. I drove into the mountains in Tennessee to go like to this cabin trip with some random people from Facebook. Like, this Facebook group was having like this cabin trip. So I said, you know what? I'll go on the cabin trip. So I decided to get in my car after and drive there, just by myself. And I drove all up and through the mountains and stuff. Almost drove off a damn cliff and shit. I don't know if you've driven from Tennessee. Anybody who's from Atlanta, if you've driven to Tennessee from Atlanta, the way that the roads are on the mountains, you are literally on a mountain and can drive off the side of it if you're not careful. Man. So anyway, as I'm driving out of California, as I'm driving out of the Bay Area right now, it's no mountains. Like, after you get, like, when you get closer towards like desert, and I want to say, what is this? Reno. It's a sign that says Reno. Okay, so once you get closer to like Nevada and Vegas and Reno and all that stuff, you don't see any mountains. You barely see any palm trees.
In half a mile, keep right at the fork to stay on I-80 East. Follow signs for Reno.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Give me a second. Wait. Wait. Hold up. I cannot pull over, but go.
Keep right at the fork to stay on I-80 East.
Alright. I'm on I-80 East. Oh, look. Lake Tahoe. Anybody been to Lake Tahoe? I'm driving past it. I'm driving, like, near it, I think, because I just seen a Lake Tahoe sign. I don't know where the fuck I'm going here. I don't know where I'm going. So anyway, do you know there was a day and age where women wouldn't even do what I'm doing right now? shit, this is a non-traditional thing, and I think that we should accept more non-traditional shit, and just let people live their lives. And if you do decide to get in a relationship with someone, you too need to define your relationship and not let the outside world define your situation. And I feel like even in my last relationship, I think a lot of people got into my son's father's mind trying to control how he views whatever movements he was making in regards to me and his last relationship. Like, a lot of people will try to give you advice that's so biased and it's based on their perception and their experiences. Like, some people put so much value in marriage
In
that
2
they
miles,
feel like
take the West A Camino Avenue exit.
this shit is just, hold on, let me just cut this shit off. So many people put much value inside of their relationship. Oh shit, I done put that. Okay. Booyah, I'm back. I didn't even mean to turn it off. I don't know what I was thinking. My bad. I'm about to get me some food. That's what I'm about to do. So I haven't ate yet. So I pulled over to find me some food. I don't know where I'm at, so I gotta cut off this live stream so I can figure it out. I don't want to be in California just driving around and you hear about me just disappearing on the news because I ain't know where I was at. So I'm gonna have to hit y'all back another time. But remember what I said about redefining your relationships, and anytime you get in a relationship with someone and you want to be in a relationship, make sure you and this person sit down and decide what you want. Like, define your relationship and stick to it, and don't let other people and their perceptions of what they believe a successful relationship is determine how you move inside of your relationship. Too many people are doing that. Too many people want to be what society wants them to be. Too many people want society to define their marriage or their relationship, or other people and their opinions about your relationship. You want everybody to admire your relationship. Why? When your relationship is for you. It's for you and the person that you're with. So why does it matter what other people think in regards to your relationship? Please define your own relationships. And if you decide to do the traditional thing, just realize that nowadays, because things are no longer traditional, you might be doomed for disaster if you try to make your relationship traditional, okay? And just because your relationship is traditional doesn't mean that your relationship is immediately going to go down the drain because your woman isn't a Stepford wife, or your husband isn't like the average everyday husband who's the quote unquote provider. If you're the one with the money in the relationship, then you the one who spend the money. Fuck it, you know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, that's all I had to say about that. Have it, stay focused, y'all.